Wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine. 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 Wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Now, have you created limiting beliefs because of a negative experience? It doesn't need to be something as dramatic as sexual abuse, divorcing parents, a death in the family, or bankruptcy. It doesn't have to be that. Sometimes a simple childhood experience triggers a false belief. I tell you, what may be inconsequential to a parent can be traumatic in the eyes of a child. Hello, once again, my name is Omobola Stephen. Welcome to my talk show. And so I want to talk about how you can watch it for the words that you say. Now, if you want to catch up with missed episodes, you can search online, search for Live Well Lived by Omobola Stephen on Just the One, on Google Podcasts and iTunes, on Listen Notes, and also on iHeart Radio, perhaps on SoundCloud, on YouTube. Just search for Live Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, and there you go. I promise you a really, really worthwhile listening experience. Now let's move on. Do you have a critical or judgmental inner voice? Now the question. Most of us do. It shows up in two ways: your own self-talk or what others have said about you. Either way, it has poked down your thinking, saying like, I'm a hopeless student or I'm an awful cook. Why can't you be more like your sister? Or perhaps can't you do anything right? You will agree with me that this is a really negative statement. This programming starts early on from the day you were born. If you're fortunate enough to grow up in a loving, supportive environment, your programming was most positive or likely positive. If you experience a dysfunctional, critical environment, your self-esteem is more likely to have been eroded by harsh words and put-downs. The excessive criticism my friend Darius received from her mother eventually took over and she became her own worst enemy. Now that's awful. Just as she could never please her mother while she was growing up, now she can never please herself. A critical internal voice never stops saying, Darius, don't be stupid. Or, Darius, you never do anything right. Now that's very negative. Becoming aware of the critical voice gives you and I a chance to change and stop the old destructive programming that can limit us. Absolutely. When we are aware of this negative voice, we can learn to talk back at it. Talk back at it. When you hear the voice coming at you, immediately use the strong word or phrase to break the negative train of thought. You can go ahead to say something like, cancel, stop, that's a lie, garbage. You decide what's best for you, absolutely. Some people like to wear a rubber band around their wrist and snap it every time they hear the critical voice. It's a great thought stopper. You can go ahead and do that. Or else, practice replacing the critical words with a positive phrase, or use your own affirming statement. I am incredible. I am enough. How do you say to that? Absolutely important, but you need to go about doing that. Your positive statement goes a long way.
I get so caught up in the middle, thinking of drowning in those blue eyes. I'm losing sight 'cause I am falling. I'm so deep down.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Now, beyond the words you hear and the thoughts you think, the words you speak can significantly affect you. Just as eating junk food all the time can lead to ill health and obesity, the words you use can also have a physical effect on you, so you need to be careful. Pay attention to these, otherwise the words you speak to yourself will rob you of power. Robbing you of power. So long, I have come up with some of the most common words or phrases that we employ, like saying this, I have to pay my taxes, or I should finish writing the paper, or perhaps we go ahead to say, I ought to start exercising. Now, these phrases are hokey, but I want you to understand that they come from feelings of guilt and powerlessness. The truth is that you always have the power to make the choices that you want. So go ahead and replace these disempowering phrases with, I choose to pay my taxes, instead of saying, I have to pay my taxes. You go ahead to say, I choose not to finish writing the paper tonight, instead of saying, I should finish writing the paper. Another is, I will start exercising, instead of saying, I ought to start exercising. You need to go ahead to release or read these phrases aloud. Notice the difference in how you feel when you say that. Have to, should, and ought to create negative energy, absolutely. Whereas when you mention or you say phrases like, choose to, choose not to, and I will produce positive energy, produce positive energy. Often these phrases sound weak and indecisive. Many women say, I don't know how to avoid or get out of something, so try is a lie. So, if you ask a friend to meet you for lunch tomorrow at noon and she says, I will try, how confident are you that she will show up? How confident? Exactly. You need to be decisive. Either you will or you won't. That is it. Using these phrases implies that most of the time you don't tell the truth when you're saying that. It sounds like everything you said up to this point was a lie. For example, how will you feel if the office equipment salesperson explains why its product is one of the best and then goes ahead to say, to be honest with you, less is more is the better buy. The word but is another negative energy producer. Now, if your boss says, you really did a great job on those sales calls, but... Now, the thing is, the original compliment loses all of its impact. I tell you. In some cases, removing the word but is difficult. I know that. You can substitute and in most situations. Whether you've developed a mild or severe case of using powerless languages, you can change it. Absolutely, you have the power. Be vigilant. This is a bad habit that can be changed. You have the power. Start becoming more conscious of the language that you use. Becoming more conscious every day. Find yourself or find yourself $1 each time you use powerless language. But that's the truth. You can go ahead to have your kids help you. They will love collecting the money. They will love it. Or include them in the game and you can cut your losses. Now, here's some other suggestions I've come up with. Number suggestion is like, you can take a recipe card and draw a line down the center. On one side, make a list of the powerless words you find yourself using. Write the more powerful words in the other column. Post this as a reminder. It does help. Another is enroll the help of friends, a women's group, a men's group, or colleagues at the office and keep each other accountable. When you use more powerful language, your sense of self will change. How you perceived by others will also change. I tell you, you will be treated with more respect and looked upon as someone who's responsible and decisive. How about that? So, don't be fooled by the simplicity of this concept. I couldn't believe how quickly I noticed a shift in myself just by saying I choose to instead of I have to. Immediately, I started feeling more responsible and have more control. Now that I'm aware of the power of language, I can quickly recognize women or people in my life who feel powerless in their lives just by listening to the words they use. Absolutely. So we need to be very careful. And so it's a wrap-up for today's show. And so, you know what? You can also visit SoundCloud and also YouTube for more about my episodes. Thank you for hanging around. Stay safe always. It's bye for now.